Hello my friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma, and I'm a redheaded reader. So, today we're going to be talking about my New Year's resolutions for reading and my TBR. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. Allow me to get on with my New Year's resolutions. So my first one is, obviously, it's on everybody's, it's to read more, because I don't read nearly enough. I never have time to read, but saying that in itself is just kind of a sorry excuse. I should make time to read. I should always make time to read. I love reading. Next, so I own about 300 books. I have read less than a quarter. Yes. I need to read more. So my goal is to at least read 70 books by the end of this year. And to keep track of that, I will be keeping track on Goodreads. So I will link that down below. I will link my socials down below, the best that I can, or somewhere along this video. So, next I have do a reading challenge. I have never once done a reading challenge. I think they're so cool. However, challenges require commitment, and I lack that. Yeah. So, next is to read Women of the Other World series. So, I have mentioned in my previous videos, I'm assuming videos, that I have read Bitten by Kelly Armstrong and her Darkest Powers and Darkest Rising series. Bitten is part of Women of the Other World series by Kelly Armstrong, and it is phenomenal. It has literally changed my life. But I am the kind of person that I don't want to read the series until I have all of the books, because if I don't have all of the books, when I get the new book, I'm just going to have to reread the first one because I have the memory of a goldfish. So I just want to have the whole series so that I can read it all in its entirety and not have to worry about, the anticipation, because I have ADHD and instant gratification. So I bought the last 3 books in the series that I've been collecting since I was 14 years old. And I would really greatly, very muchly appreciate myself if I could read the whole thing. I know that's probably going to take a while because there's 13 books in the series, not including the novellas that go along with it. And the duologies and the rest of the series is the plural that go after it, because Darkest Rising and Darkest Powers are part of it. Later on in the YA, it's a big world, okay? It's just a big world, and I would like to read all of it. That is my end goal, is to at least read Women of the Other World series past Dime Store Magic. Next, I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for this if people watch my videos later on. I have not read the Mortal Instruments series. So, I'm working on it. I'm on City of Bones. And I'm on 175, page 175. I'm working on it. I've been working up to it. I'm getting there. I am struggling because I haven't found my love of reading again. I've lost it and I gotta find it again, and I'm sure once I find that book, once I find the book that'll get me into reading again, I will devour that entire series because I have all the way up to Fallen Angels. So, and lastly, I will also get a lot of backlash for this. I have not read Sarah J. Maas. The reason for that is because I didn't know she existed until booktube 2018, actually. I didn't know she existed until 2018. I would really, really, greatly like to read. Crescent Moon is probably the one that I'm leaning towards because it looks really interesting, but I haven't read, and I'm getting to it. I will get there. Anyways, that concludes my resolutions. Now, time to get into my TBR. So first off, I would like to say that I read a lot of fantasy. I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I don't read a lot of historical fiction, but I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I am expanding my horizons. So, the first book that I have on here is The Dollmaker of Crowe by R.M. Romero, and this is about a doll, a living doll, who is part of this place called Doll Land, and there's a doll maker and somehow they end up being connected after her king and queen have been overthrown. And it's during World War II, so she has to figure out how to save him and his friends, who are all Jewish, and they all become good friends. And she has to try and find out how to save them from going to concentration camps. So I believe it will be quite interesting. And also, just look at that cover. Like, look at that cover. It's beautiful. Ah, it's so beautiful. And look, there's a little doll maker down there. That's so cute. Oh, he's a redhead like me. Which is of House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This is the Owl Crate edition. It's beautiful. I think it's amazing. When I read the synopsis, I kind of got 12 Dancing Princess vibes, but with a horror twist. So Annalee is the main character that we're following, and her and her sisters go to this magical place, and they spend their glittering gowns and all this stuff, but eventually all of her sisters start to die one by one, day after day, I believe. Yeah, so 4 of the girls' lives have been cut short. And so she's trying to figure out what's going on and how it's happening. So you follow her on her journey, and she meets someone along the way. I don't know his name. So she's basically trying to figure out what is going on with her family and how it's happening before it gets to her, because apparently she's next. Next we have Bone Jack by Sarah Crowe. So this is the cover. Also, beautiful cover. I love it. Like, look at that. Look at how pretty that is. This is a coming-of-age novel about Ash, who goes on to a buck hunt, a stag hunt. There's a lot of dark lore, and he's using his village, like him and his village go on the stag hunt about, like, when you become a specific age. Something that I've been trying to read, but I haven't really gotten far enough into it that it's sucked me in yet. I've made it to like page 5. I would really like to read this book. I've had it for 2 years now, so I'm getting to that point, but I believe it'll be a really interesting, beautifully executed novel that I will definitely give you a review on once I read it. It's The Fall by Bethany Griffin, and this is about a girl named Madeline who lives in a mansion with her and her brother. Her mother and father used to live in it with her, but the mansion solely exists around Madeline, and everyone that isn't her has lost their mind and ended up killing themselves. And so she is trying to figure out what she can do to stop it, and how she can stop her brother, her twin brother, from becoming next until she wakes up in a coffin. I mean, the cover looks creepy. Like, that looks like the cover of a creepy movie. Next we have is The Infinity of You and Me by Jq Coyle. This one is about a girl named Alicia. She's 15 years old, and she's been diagnosed with schizophrenia and depression, and I believe there's a few other diagnoses as well that are mentioned further on into the book. The reason she's believed to have schizophrenia is because she keeps imagining these different worlds that are happening around her, and no one believes her. She believes that she's going crazy until one day everyone begins to realize that she was telling the truth, and that there are other dimensions and other worlds that exist within her own. And she meets someone named Jax. Yeah, she meets someone named Jax, and they are historically tied in some aspect or another. To try and figure out how to save her world without destroying his. And the cover is also really cool. Like, these covers just keep coming at me. Next, I don't really like to read classics. I find classics are a very hard concept for my brain to grasp. Mostly because I have to reread a few things sometimes when there's more than there's like a hidden message, and there's almost always a hidden message. But I would really like to read The Tales of King Arthur, which, if you need me to remind you what it's about, then sure. It's about King Arthur, or a boy named Arthur, who isn't exactly of royal lineage, and there's a sword and a stone, and he has to try and he pulls the sword out of the stone with the help of Merlin. Because he pulled the sword out of the stone, it means he's the next king. Within that, he becomes king of Camelot, has the Knights of the Round Table, which include Sir Lancelot. There's more in here. It's all of the Arthurian legends that are included in this by Henry Gilbert. Next is the Iliad by Homer, and this book is about Achilles' journey to reclaim Helen from Troy back to Greece. So that's kind of what's going on, and you follow his journey and everything about it. The cover looks very similar to the song Achilles, and that is because this is Achilles' helmet. And Achilles is, you know, this is like Greek literature. Next, I have poems, because I used to read poems a lot when I was a kid. I used to write poems too up until I was about 17, and then I just kind of lost inspiration to write them. So I'm going to be reading Abandoned Breaths by Alpha. I'll probably start this one tonight just because it's so easy. Like, I love poems. I just haven't found any poems that really grasp me. This one is about heartache, loss, and love. And I have recently experienced a lot of heartbreak and loss. So I believe this is probably the time to read this. Next I've got... this is White Stag by Barbari. This is about a 17-year-old girl named Jq who is raised to be the male heir in her entire family. The entire family is daughters, except her father. So her father taught her to hunt, her father taught her to raise every animal and kill every animal and to fight, and specific things that she would have to do in order to protect her family. Then one day her entire village is burnt to the ground, and as the sole survivor, she is kidnapped by Lydian, is sent to... Jq is captured by Lydian, sent to work for his nephew Soren. Later on, something comes up about a goblin king, and there's an ancient hunt for the next king. That is pretty much that one. It's a little all over the place, even in the synopsis. I don't believe I'll probably read it. It seems like something I might not read. But next is Starling by Leslie Livingston. This is about a girl named Mason who goes to a school and discovers that she has supernatural powers. She also meets a boy named, Finrey. She meets a young man who remembers nothing but his name, which is the Finrey's Wolf. He also has supernatural powers, and they go on this journey to discover who she is and supernatural powers because she didn't know she had them. So they discover some other things about her family and that they're connected to Norse gods. Basically, that's what I got from the synopsis. I picked this up because I love her other book, Once Every Never by Leslie Livingston. I have the whole series for this one because it was at Talese. They were all $1.49, so I mean, like, why not? So I'm hoping I will enjoy this one, but I haven't had great reviews from it yet, which sucks because I'm really looking forward to reading it. So there's that one. Next, we have Spindlefire by Lexa Hilliner? No, I always think there's an N, and it's not. It's Hillier. This is basically about two sisters, Isabel and Aurora. It's a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. Isabel is the king's illegitimate daughter, but is raised in the castle alongside Aurora, and they're very close. They're polar opposites, however. Aurora, because she is the daughter, she's the one next in line to the throne, she is under attack, and she, as you know how the story goes, she falls into a deep sleep. Isabel's goal and journey is to find a man or a prince to kiss her sister to wake her up. But some other things come to light and some other things happen along the way, and it doesn't quite go according to plan. I have to read this one because I have the second one on the way here. I believe it's coming on the 5th, along with some other ones, so stay tuned for a book haul. This one is Romancing the Throne by Nadine Joy Courtney. This one is about Libby and Charlotte, who fight over a boy named Prince, who is a prince. His name is Edward. What ends up happening is Libby joins this prestigious school alongside her sister named Charlotte. And Libby is not a social climber. She's not someone that believes in popularity. She likes to read books. She is super geeky, down to earth, super nerdy. Basically the girl that's not like most girls. So because Charlotte has been at the school before, she wants to take Libby under her wing, and in doing so, Libby meets Prince Edward, who is part of Charlotte's social circle. Libby and Prince Edward hit it off right away. They start hanging out, but then what doesn't come to light until later on, is that Charlotte has a crush on Prince Edward and really wants to get to know him. So there's now a divide between the two sisters. and they have to try and figure out where their loyalties lie, with each other or with the prince. The next one is My Unscripted Life by Lauren Morell. This one seems like a super frilly, fluffy novel, romance novel. It's about a girl named Dee Wilkes. Yeah, Dee Wilkie, who lives in Georgia and meets this movie star, where filming is happening in her town. She meets him and they end up hanging out a bit more, come across each other, and it's super fluffy. I mean, like, come on. Next, I have the definitions of indefinable things. So, this is by Whitney Taylor. This is about a girl named Reggie, who is depressed and has difficult timing with life and just doesn't really like the meaning that she's discovered so far until she meets a boy named Snake. Snake is the ultimate bad boy. Tattoos running up his neck, his arms everywhere, super iffy. He's got some piercings, and what comes to light is that he has a girlfriend that is 7 months pregnant, and Reggie begins to have feelings for Snake, and later on Carla, Snake, and Reggie begin to uncover what the true meaning of friendship, relationships, love, and other things that aren't always exactly definable, and how undefinable they are, which is the title, goes along with the book. Anyways, that, my friends, is the whole video. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell in the corner. Let me know what you think. And also, if there's other books that you think that I should definitely be reading, please let me know and I will try my best to get them. Hope you all have a wonderful year. Wish you all the best in 2021. And happy reading, my friends.